Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the Top Cut Ultimate Cup that happened this past weekend. It was over 400 players is online, and real quick, first, I'm on the road right now, so sorry for any dips in quality in audio and also no webcam for this one. But also, thank you so much to Top Cut for not only running the event, but also for giving these deck lists, as well as letting myself and Yoshi be the live stream for it. So you can check that out on my Twitch channel. It's linked in the description, and it will be re-uploaded to this channel. I'm going to say by Friday because I'm on the road, but that's what I'm aiming for. It should be Friday on this YouTube channel too. So there is all that, and I do also just want to say thank you guys for all the support for this one, and also if you guys want to make sure to look at this Ultimate Cup and all the other ones I've covered, it's on my my website, Eggman Events, which you're seeing right now, which is linked in the description as well. But getting on to this top 16 breakdown, we do have 6 Machinedramons. One of them won the event, 3 BWGX, 2 Blackwood Grey X, and both of them were kind of like the Ragna variant, which we'll go into. And then 1 Dorbick, 1 Bloomlord, 1 Blue Hybrid, 1 Yellow Hybrid, and a Mother D Reaper. And I did do a tier list like right before this event, and if we look at it right quick, I think that's pretty close to how this pie chart ended up being in the first place. I'm rarely like this is like the most correct I've been on a prediction in a minute, so I'm kind of showing it here, patting myself in the back. But yeah, I think it's kind of understood what's in this meta right now. I think it's no surprise that the big three, or at least big two, are Machinedramon and BWGX. I think like Bloom and Bloom, Ulforce, and maybe Blackwood Grey X, maybe fighting for that top 3 spot. So that's kind of interesting there. We also didn't see Red Hybrid get a top in this one either, so I know people were on it. I know it's kind of one of the popular lists in this format, but it didn't get the top place that it wanted for this event either. So anyways, we're going to go over the top 16 lists, and we're going to go over the top placing lists in each one of these archetypes, starting off with our first one. So we have Billy with Machinedramon here. And there are a whole lot of Machinedramon builds for this one. I think it's pretty understood that it's a really big decision for this, and it's also there's a lot of personal choice for this deck list in general. I'm going to start off real quick. We're running 2 copies of Ragnar Lordmon right now, which is a very expensive card for this deck, but it can help you win the game in the end too. You also have 2 of the Chaos X, 4 Chaos, 2 Machinedramons, and 2 of the other ones. So we're running what? 12 level 6s and 7, which is absurdly high for a deck like this, but you'd obviously won, so something to be put there. And then also we have like a little bit of some rookies, so we have 10 rookies, and then we have like a couple cards in our level 4, because normally you don't go all the way up our chain for a deck like this, but we are choosing here. We're not seeing the Mercurymon hybrid, which some builds are running, and then a good amount of level 5s. I'd say like a little bit less of the level 5s than we normally see. We also don't see like any of the just few Metagreymons, few Megadramons, and then just a bunch of 1-ofs are there. So only 2-ofs for these guys too. So really interesting for that, but we did see that this is a deck that Ragna can win you the game outright, so you just have to be really defensive, and not giving any hits in security means you're not giving your opponent any advantage, which is kind of nice, but it's wild. Those ratios are really, really wild. So there's this one. I don't think Ragna was in the majority of these, but this is a pretty popular card in this format, which is again really funny in a monocolor format. This multicolored DNA level 7 is popular, but it definitely is. So congratulations to Billy for their first place there. And moving on, we do have Conor with their 3rd place BWGX, and BWGX is kind of in a I'd say strong but not like unbeatable form, where it was maybe at the end of like BT12 without the restrictions to the deck. But I think it's so good in this format. I think a lot of people are on it, which helps maybe its representation in the top 16 there. There's a couple of decisions that people were making to change, with Impmon at 1. What are your changes to? A lot of people are just putting the BT2 Impmon in there to help even it out. This does get some on-deletion effects, which I think was why we're seeing Calling from Darkness being back into the deck, which wasn't always an include on pre-June deck list for this. And then just a couple of, I think more people are leaning on the EX2 BLZX, or Beelzemon, to get like the BT3 or BT2 Impmon back and get the recycle there, and miss memory boost, which is a not a standard add too. So I don't know. There's just a bunch of decisions for these two, and I do think it's really cool that both are 1st place and 3rd place, and technically 2nd place, because 2nd place was also Machinedramon. they're deck lists that are very pilot centered and also deck build centered, where it's not like the same format every time. I'd say Itmon and BWGX is a little bit known for what you can choose, but there is a lot of choice for both of these decks, including even the DigiEgg. I know a lot of people have been off Yamon in the recent days. I think Yamon's still better in my mind, but it's also a decision on that one. So anyways, you guys are probably having your own opinions on PLCX at this point. I think it's in a good spot in general. Not too strong, not too weak, and it's in a good spot. So congratulations to Conor for their third place there. Next up, we have our only Bloomlord in the top 16. It's Ryan's list here, and I've been saying for a bit a couple of things to mention with this deck. One, did get two minor nerfs in this format. Blasto is at 1, and also Hydra is at 1. Technically, Blasto's in 1 in both formats, but that kind of didn't get represented until this event anyways. And then we also have like a good level 7 in Quartzmon. So Quartzmon is a pretty good card. It helps shut out a couple decks. I think it's really good against Ulforce. Ulforce really doesn't have a way to out this card. And but in general, I don't think Bloomlord is as good in BT12 as it is in was in BT11. There's a lot of good choices for this deck, and there's a lot of ways for it to be controlly, but I think it's something for that there. And then also, since Hydra's at 1, there are a couple choices for level 6s. I like Lotusmon more than Shivamon. I know Shivamon is like really tempting, and it's kind of a not joke pick, but like it's a really really cool card when it goes off, right? But even though Lotusmon might be a little bit more boring, it is a fairy, which means you can find it off the Palmon here, and then also has the effects of when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It doesn't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. And also, opponent's turn, all your other Digimon with Vegetation, Plant, Fairy, and their traits gain, on deletion gain 2 memory, and return 1 Digimon card with 3k or DP or less to from the trash to your hand. So it's just really, really good for that too, especially if you have like blockers, which you do have like in Yakimon, and also like Cherrymon getting the redirect to even like itself and getting that deletion. I think that's in a good spot. So anyways, this list is pretty understood. Also, we do have like the Tokiora Balmon as our new egg. So once per turn when you play Green Digimon, this gets plus 2k DP for the turn. So obviously, if like Agitar gives plays something, you get the plus 2k after that, which is it doesn't even have to be off an effect too, which is I think also why we have these Mushroomons as well to help get that as well. So anyways, this is the list. Congratulations to Ryan on their finish there. Next up, we have Mario's 6th place Dorbickmon, and Dorbick's been pretty known as an archetype in Ultimate Cup. It's pretty good in a mono red archetype too, and I'm sure Mario's going to make a video on this list, so I'm just going to give my quick thoughts of this in the Ultimate Cup format. I think the hardest thing about this deck and at times is getting that last bit of damage, in the sense that it's really easy for this deck to get a lot of security attack buffs with like Master Tyrannomon, Volcanomon, and also just the original Greymon there too, and just has sometimes an issue getting that last damage after you get your Dorbickmon down. You don't have like Omni Blitz doesn't work for this one, but you don't really have like the Machinedramon, which lets you restand after that and get the attack. So you do have to be a little bit wary for that, but if you are able to get that last attack, it's pretty strong. There's not a lot of interaction with this too, and since a lot of decks I think are a little bit slower in this archetype too to set up and get the defenses online, and the fact that this is really good at getting around some bigger cards, the fact that you get a lot of draw off like your Heroes of the Sky, the Fireballs, and just everything else, it can just be very quick and just win you in just a couple turns. So I think the deck is strong. I think it's something that is a little bit, linear in the fact that it's an OTK in the sense of just trying to find your Dorbickmon, get your pieces underneath that are good in the situation and go off. But it's very, very strong, and congrats to Mario on their 6th place there. Next up, we have Dan with his 7th place Ulforce, and it's not Imperodramon, but Dan is getting a top with another deck with a Vmon in it, so it counts in my book for a classic Dan Vang top here. But Ulforce has been pretty good in Ultimate Cup. I think it does better in the Ultimate Cup format compared to the regular BT12. But this could also just be the fact that I think BWGX was a really hard deck for this deck to fight against. Not only was it faster on the aggro side, but also the fact that its security had so many potential hits in it meant that this deck was having had a hard time against it in general if it was able to if BWGX just had like the good card and security or wasn't able to set up. But I do like the couple of choice kind of picks for this one in general too. It looks like Leomon is here to stay. I think most people are on Leomon. There's no Jerry's in this build, which is a little interesting with the Leomons, but most people are running Leomon here. Vidramon as you're running the full line also, but we have the Veedramon and Vmon, and then we also have Betamon and Sayakomon as well for something. I think Modoki Betamon is good for this format just as a tech too, and again, it's something that Dan has to run if he wants to top an event. So he did, so he did. Other than that, nothing too crazy. We do have some option cards. Great Maelstrom has been pretty popular, bringing back the Rattlestar as well. So main, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon to the owner's hand. If your opponent has 3 or more Digimon in play, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck instead. So pretty good to get the removal for that one as well. And it's only 5 or lower on the main effect, so having a wide board is a little bit trickier for it, but something against like Quartzmon, this is like you're out to Quartzmon, which is kind of nice. Where this one, I don't think so. Yeah, both these get rid of Quartzmon, so I think both are strong in their own right. So, anyways, congrats to Dan on their finish there. Then next up we have our Black or Gray X list, and I'm going to talk about both because they got 11th and 12th. They got the same ranking, and I wanted to just kind of go through both. But both of them are Dorbick Ragna at the top as well, and they're not even. I say Black or Gray X just because there's the one, and that's usually like Black or Gray X versions have it, and then War Grays have not Black or Gray X. That's how I've been kind of showing them. So like this is Jiading's list, and this is Fu's list too. They're very similar on like the top end, and I want to just kind of go over the bottom end where they kind of deviate. But this is like Black or Gray X. This is like War Gray. It's hard to really to differentiate a lot of these Greymon decks right now because there's just so many moving pieces that you can jump in and replace if you want to. But with the 11 place list, the big difference is kind of like the bottom end too. So the ads for just kind of like the regular Agumons that we see, we do want to make sure that we have like the Star Deck 7 one because it is a dinosaur, which is important for doing our DNAs if needed to. Obviously, both are running the Flamedramon, and then our Greymon package too. We have a couple of the Security Attack +1 Greymons, and then the Greymon X from BT11, and also the BT12 Greymon, which is letting us play our tie for free. And then we also do have our list right here. So this is the 12th place. So this is Fu's list, and you'll see that they're running instead the BT12 Agumon, which is yellow. So this is a dinosaur because it's technically it's Marcus's Agumon kind of thing. But on play, reveal top 4 cards from your deck. Add 1 Digimon with Greymon's name, 1 with Marcus to its name, place the rest at the bottom. And then also inherited your turn. Once returned, when one of your yellow or red tamers becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon get -2k. So I kind of actually like the inclusion of this card a little bit more because of that flexibility with that, and also potential removal or potential to attack over something, especially with Marcus, which you can't play for free off any of your Greymons with this package, but you are able to play off the Metal Greymon because it just plays a level or a black or red tamer with a cost of 4 or less. So I think that's a nice little package for there. Also, since it's a dinosaur, it's really great. Unlike this one, I'm surprised they chose the Star Deck 1 Agumon instead of like the Star Deck 7 one, just because this was a dinosaur, and they more or less have the same effect. But I guess I understand from that one. So. Everything else, mostly the top end is the same. The only other difference is if you are playing, all of the which Metal Greymons. I really do like. This is probably the build I'd be running, honestly. Just because I do like the BT8 Metal Greymon too for the removal, and then I think that at this point it's understood that the Dorbick top end package is really good for ending the game, which traditionally you might have a hard time or. It takes a little bit of time for like the generic Black or Gray to get there at times too. So, anyways, these are both lists. Congratulations to both Fu and Jiading for their finish there. Next up, we have Bryan Doe's 14th place Yellow Hybrid, and I really do like Yellow Hybrid in this format. And I'm really happy Bryan was able to get it and get a top 16 and show that this deck is pretty viable in it. So. He's also on stream a couple times. I highly recommend checking out both his games. And apologies for the glare on those games too. But what I really like about this deck is that there is like just a bunch of recursion for it. There's not a lot of tamer destruction in this format compared to regular BT12. I do like to you do get like a bunch of value. You get to kind of stall out your opponent a little bit. Rapidmon does a lot of work in this format still. I also want to mention, like, this is a bit of a weird build, too. I haven't seen, like, Teruriumon in a long time. I haven't seen this Lopmon. I thought he was running Suzy when I first saw him pop this card down. And then also the Venus, but mostly, like, the BT4 War Greymon, which did get some impactful finishes, too. So if you guys don't remember this guy, when an attack once returned, you may add the top card of your security stack to your hand, and then unsuspend this Digimon and have one of your Digimon get minus 6k, or one of your opponents get minus 6k for the turn. So being able to do that and potentially get the removal or something, or also being able to attack twice, especially when you have like the Rise Greymon inheritable to get the security attack +1. It's really really strong. So this can get 4 checks all by itself. I also do want to mention like Venusmon. This card still does a lot of work, and the fact that it just kind of stalls out a turn like this buys you a turn, which is really really good. Obviously, you're only going to be able to go from like Cosmon into Jet Sophie into Venus like once because Jet Sophie's at 1 still, but later in the game, especially like if you have like a bunch of TK and Karis up, or Karis and Ties up, you're going to have, 5, 6 plus memory at the start of your turn, so you can easily go into Venusmon, keep your turn, and get that stall while also just, in general, like when you kind of get the advantage from this deck is when you are able to just get more memory than your opponent gets. So you pass them 1 or 2, and just by all of your tamers, you're able to start at 5, 6 plus memory, and because of that, you just get more and more memory than your opponent, and you're able to do more stuff with it, and just kind of get to go off from there. So anyways, this is the list. Congratulations to Bryan on their first place, or sorry, their top 16 there. There's also no yellow reinforcing memory boost, which I think is wild, but I think this deck is great, and congratulations to Bryan there. And to wrap it on up, we do have Trey with his 16th place D Reaper just sneaking on in there, getting that top here. And I think this deck is moderately polarizing in what it's able to do, and what matchups are good for it right now, but it's really neat to see it, get a 16th place finish here, and I've been seeing it on like some webcams and locals lately too, but I think it's in a really really strong spot. So there's not a lot of diversity in what you can put in this deck. I will say I've never seen anyone. I don't think I have. I don't think I've seen anyone top with Optimizer. So with this, and I've like I don't think I've ever had it played as me or played against me. But it's a 10 drop which you can reduce with your mother. But card effect on play when attacking once return. If one of your mother D Reapers have 5 or more Devolution cards, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 card with D Reaper trait and play cost of 10 or less, and without its memory cost, and place the remaining at the bottom of the deck in any order. So this can technically find like a Jerry, which can find a searcher, right? This could technically find a Bubbles that could bottom a searcher. This could find a Horn Striker. This could find a Creep Hand. So I think it's fine. It's an interesting choice for it in a lot of ways. This also is going to get pretty big on your turn as well, since you will be getting, like, even with just 4 sources, it becomes a 13k underneath your mother. So I think it's helpful there. It's only 10 or less, so it can't play itself, which is maybe pretty nasty. It can't play Gatekeeper because Gatekeeper is 11, but I think it's something that a lot of times you just don't have a lot of ways to use your memory in this deck, I feel, and so being able to even have a chunky boy that is going to be hard to remove early game. If you play it, with like 3 sources, it gets down to like a 7 cost. If you have 5 sources, it goes down to a 5 cost. So not too terribly cumbersome for that one. I think it's I need to try it out, I guess. So anyways, that's Trey's list. Congratulations for their top 16 there. And that's going to be my breakdown. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Make sure to check out Eggman Events for this breakdown and all the other ones that I've done, as well as thanks again to Top Cut, and make sure to check out the live stream either here on YouTube by the end of the week, or linked on my Twitch as well. So that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you all next time.